Und
when we start to talk about technique, when someone is asking about technique, what technique you are rowing, what technique people are rowing, what different technique different countries are rowing, we always have to think in terms of how people moving in boat, movement of the boat, and movement of people within the boat. Also analyzing different people, different nations, different boats, we can see a lot of differences. Some boats are very successful with very short strokes, some are successful with long stroke, some stop hands at finish, some have very fast hands out. Some way we are successful. So each of these boats are doing something right. But if we really start to analyze all these boats, we can find that there is some kind of natural technique. It's probably 60 or 70% people are rowing natural technique. Nothing is exaggerated. If we take, for instance, young person who never rowed, and we put him on the rowing tank, and without any instruction, we ask him just sit down and row, we definitely find out that he will start to row probably very correctly. In the moment when we start to coach him, we confuse him, and he will be lost. Going back to some analysis of rowing, and we mentioned before that first point how we should analyze rowing technique should be to analyze movement of the boat. Movement people in the boat, speed of the boat, movement relation to the boat. And it shouldn't be, any motion in the boat should not be exaggerated. Catch should be relation to the speed of the boat, just enough, quick enough to lock blade in, very direct, without any slowing down, without hanging, without slamming down later on, just very direct motion back, down into the water, locking in, moving, driving legs, swinging, pushing boat away, and comfortable way, very relaxed, beginning of recovery. Gliding slide, body preparation, approaching catch. We shouldn't see any dramatic changes of the speed of our movement in the boat. We should move way in the boat that we don't disturb run of the boat. The boat is running, and we want to, each stroke we want to push boat a little bit further, push boat a little bit further, but we are doing everything very nicely, very smoothly. So we don't want to disturb this run of the boat. We are going to show you some examples of this rowing very smoothly, good blade work without splashes, locking in, pushing boat, very relaxed. This crew is 1984 Olympic 8, and picture was taken in Hanover, one of the workouts. They rowed 32, and you can notice that it doesn't look like 32, it looks like 28, because it's so smooth. It is, motion is very good relation to the speed of the boat. Second point of our rowing analysis should be body work within the boat, individual technique. I know there are some opinions, oh, let's not pay attention to body, it's not important how they work, but some way correct body swing, correct body movement in the boat, all 8 people moving the same way, it is additional force, it is much more rhythm, it makes this movement much easier. And guys feel when they feel, oh, it's so easy, it's so light, so easy, because they move together. And sometimes people row many years together, sometimes, and they miss each other in body motion. There is no swing, there is no uniform body motion in the boat, and boat is not running. We start to analyze individual technique right now, and we concentrate just on crucial points in crucial position during rowing cycle in our technique, natural our technique. First position, and in my opinion the most important position, I call this body preparation. It's position just after beginning of slide. Characteristic: arms stretch nicely forward, past knees. There is body angle. Horseman is leaning forward. Very relaxed shoulders, very relaxed upper body, good flexibility. Slide letter C, relaxed body position. Head is looking straight forward, and he covered only probably quarter of slide. That's beginning of our recovery. That's what I call body preparation, body angle before we start recovery, at the beginning of recovery. In my opinion, that's the most important, because if we have this good body preparation, we can eliminate many mistakes which might occur later on, especially diving, could be avoided if we have our body set before we approach catch.
Go ahead.
Now we see continuation of the slide, continuation of recovery. Rower reach middle of the slide, probably, is middle point of the slide. His arms are stretched. He reached a little bit further forward, more body angle. He also got a little bit more curve of his shoulders. We can say that his reach is already finished. So, in the middle of slide, this rower already finished his reaching forward. It means that next part of his slide is going to be continuation of sliding on seat without the reaching forward. Approaching catch. Body position hasn't changed. It is the same curve, relax, the same relaxed shoulders, the same arm stretch. It's a little bit more compression on his legs. It means that last part of the slide, it was covered without changing body position, without reaching out, without diving forward. He's approaching catch, he's covering the last part of the slide only with the idea of raising hands later on and putting blade into the water. Position of the catch. Nicely curved body, exactly, precisely like on previous picture. Full compression of his legs, arms stretched, lifted up, blade is going down into the water. There is no lifting shoulders. It's only lift of his hands. Shoulders position hasn't changed. Body position hasn't changed. His blade are getting down into the water by lifting hands. On this picture, we are approaching half of the drive. We see that still there is no body opening. He was pressing his knees down, but whole unit without any changes was moving backwards. His shoulders are curved nicely around like on previous picture, like the moment of the catch. It's the same body angle between upper part of body like in moment of the catch, only legs are down a little bit. Arms are stretched. This back is prying because of leg drag. Characteristic, the most important thing of this picture to remember is there is still no body opening, just holding body and driving legs. Moving, whole unit is moving backward without jerking shoulders or head up. Approaching the end of stroke, legs are almost down, still there is about 120 degrees left. We see that body is changing angle. It's the beginning of opening, beginning of uncoiling body. Back is prying, it's nicely curved, arms are stretched, legs are on the way down, but body, upper body starts to work. It's taking over. It's introduced to our rowing cycle right now. Sometimes we call this position transition, point of transition. Transition from leg drive into some kind of body swing. That's the beginning of body swing. He is a little bit straighter and he will start his pendulum of his body, he will start his swing simultaneously with the end of his leg drive. Beginning of the finish of the stroke, there is not too much legs left. It's just the last kick of knees down. Beginning of squeezing arms. We still notice that the body weight of this rower is prying, is moving towards bow, that he's suspended on foot stretcher and on the oar handle. If I cover this part, you can have impression that he's hanging in the air. All pressure is on foot stretches and on the oar handles. It's important position to remember that we continue to swing and we are squeezing arms.
Yeah, good.
Body position at the finish. Knees are down, a little bit lay back, but not too much. Very natural position. Shoulders are nicely curved. There is no exaggeration in this position. There is no too much layback. There is no tension on chest. Elbows a little bit through the body. Very important point. Hands are in front of the body, in front of the chest. Not too much through, not here. Blade is over water. Very relaxed, very natural position. That's what we should see. I'm going to show later on pictures of all good crews, and we'll see that almost everyone has this type of body position which shows relaxation and readiness to start to begin recover. And here we are back to beginning of our rowing cycle, body preparation, beginning of recovery, nicely curved shoulders, arms stretched, and we are taking slowly slide.
wherever we start to teach rowing technique or rowing stroke, first of all I'm trying to describe and define of the stroke. So when we start to correct our athletes in some fine points of the stroke, they know exactly what we are talking about. They know how it should look like and why it's not complicated. And if it's defined correctly and taught correctly, it should be very easy to execute and to perform. Cycling motion, and we all know about rowing stroke, and we can talk hours. It's very simple. I will try to go very quickly through the stroke. Usually, starting point for me and crucial point in analyzing on every rowing stroke is beginning of stroke. If I want to define beginning of stroke, somewhere here with arms stretched, some body angle, not too much. If you have too much body angle, it's very uncomfortable to take slide. If we don't have any body angle, if we are at this position, we start slide, it's obvious we are going to dive later on. So, analyzing rowing stroke and analyzing individual technique, I always look at body preparation at beginning of slide. For me, that's the most important. I would like to see very relaxed shoulders, not hunched, quite arched bodies, some kind of letter C, some body angle, but still very comfortable. And for me, that's quite good prepared body. Now I can start slide, extending, and finishing my body preparation, finishing my reaching out by middle of slide, the last part just to slide, raise your hands, drop blade into the water, drive. Not change anything, drive legs, from middle start opening, finish, and come to this position. It's very smooth motion, very natural, not overdoing any part of it. So, body preparation, slide, reaching out, catch, driving, opening, back. Of course, immediately there will be some questions. How much labor? Natural labor. I'm rowing right now with speed out, and I don't have any problem. I have just natural labor, not too much, because you can see right now that it's useless to go so much. Also, you will be pumping your knees up, and your seat will be coming forward instead of staying still. So, some kind of labor, hands out, they pull, shoulders forward. Very natural motion, very smooth motion. We're always trying to make sure that we are pressing, that we have support with our feet against foot stretches, and we are hanging on the oar. We talk a lot about hanging, and many people are saying, what is this hanging? And we watch some crews and we'll see this type of stroke, which is very, very common. Good first part like this, and then good, and here they stop swinging and they wait for the hands to arrive. You can see that from this moment, my body is not working. All my weight is on seat. And I'm waiting here for all to come. Very often they do this motion, something like that. They are not using body. Very good crews, you can see that everyone is hanging, keeping weight on the oar to very end. To describe this principle, Fairbank used to say about lifting almost from seat. You can lift yourself from seat. Oh, you need to lift yourself from the seat. Yeah, that was quite exaggerated. But come here, place blade, and you should see tension on your lats. We are not trying to lift ourselves on seat and pressing down on seat. No, we are so you can see this arm is stretched. Leg drive is stretching my arm. It's almost pulling my arm out of the shoulder. And I insist, I'm prying with my lats backwards. So it's very horizontal stroke. It is not and insisting, especially here, insisting, accelerating with the arterial blade is not rewarded. If you look some good crews, I would say this year, Harvard crew had very good finish, very good acceleration, using body, especially once you pass perpendicular here. Now you can accelerate, you leverage. The body is going backwards and your blade is accelerating until it comes out. So practically hanging on the oar and driving legs is our principle of our flying forces, the oar. How to get this, how to teach.
Yeah.
So going again through our knowing that now about principle of hanging, we go one more time through all our stroke, and we try to repeat again and to define all elements and all characteristics of our stroke. We start body preparation, very relaxed, taking slide, gliding slide, no rushing, coming here the last 2 inches, making touch by raising hands, placing, putting weight on foot stretches on our handle, but after we feel this resistance of the water, after we place blade in the water, hanging, driving, from here, somewhere here, halfway through, about 120 degrees of our leg, we start opening gradually, upper body is taking over, we hang, and here it's very important moment. Hanging, swinging, and squeezing arms together. Not overemphasizing one group of muscles. It has to, arms application has to be done simultaneously. What is happened sometimes, very often people, when they start squeeze arms, they stop swinging, and they stop body. So they look like this. No, we should be able to swing, apply, hands out, and keep rolling and slide. Relax, body, gliding, touch, hang to the end, and glide.
We talk a lot about rowing stroke. Now let's analyze how the best crews are rowing. Here we have American Straight 4, silver medal in Olympic Games, one of the best crews, technical crews I ever seen. Members of this crew, couple months before Olympics, didn't row like you see here, but we work on their technique a lot and we were able to make some changes. That's Phil Steckel, number 3 on Straight 4, and we had a lot of technical problems with Phil, and we decided to make some changes, necessary changes to keep moving, to start moving the boat. Let's analyze his technique. Very good, steady motion. He is quite well prepared in middle of the slide. If I want to be very picky, I would like him to be a little bit more extended, to have this arm, inside arm, a little bit more stretched out. But there is some body angle like we talked before, and some arc body. John Smith, number 2, I would say it's a little bit better prepared. I like his arms position, and he has a little bit more body angle. We are approaching catch. We see that body angle is not changing, it is the same body angle. They just slide a little bit forward on slides, continue slide without additional extension. Catch. There was no lifting shoulders on catch. We can see that we stop our picture in the moment of the catch. There are some splashes over here. Phil already starts handing on the oar as much as well as John. Only hands were raised to put blade into the water. First part, not too much opening. Handing, but without opening body, just driving legs. John has even better positioned arms. His arms are stretched very nicely. Unfortunately, Phil turned his head of this stroke towards camera. Middle of drive, very nice, stretch arms, hanging on the oar. Body is almost vertical position. There is some leg drive left, but very correct position. Approaching finish, exactly how I pointed out before, very little leg drive, transition point from legs up to upper body. He's still hanging, he's still pressing against the foot stretcher, arms are straight, stretched, all weight is working, his body weight is working, his lats are prying towards the bow. In this frame we can see that the legs finish drive, but Phil is continuing prying his back, and he began to squeeze his arms, but he's still applying his weight. He didn't put his weight on seat and waiting right now for the arms to come, but he's still going backwards using his weight. He's pushing against foot stretches, and whole weight of his body is hanging suspended to the oar hand. Even right now, which in this point when everyone say at the very last point, just fraction of a second before release from the water, but we can see that he is hanging on the oar, he is squeezing the last inches of squeeze of his arms, but back is working to this towards bow. He was able to maintain body weight on the oar. And now body weight is on seat. He has relaxed body position, not too stiff, slightly arched shoulders,
head straight, nothing unusual. I would say his partner stroke Al-Forni dropped his outside shoulders and is leaning a little bit away from the oar, which is incorrect, but field number 3 has very correct body position. You can notice that the other boys are rowing with feathering and Phil is rowing on square blades because it's a couple weeks before Olympics and he was injured, very severe case of tendonitis, so all workouts, even at 36, he was rowing at square blades. Going further through his stroke, we see we are back to body preparation position, back to position which I stress so many times as one of the most important. His hands past knees, he starts taking his slide, his body is vertical, here it's already slightly bent forward, slightly hunched, he's getting body angle. Here you can see that difference between this frame and previous is very little. He moves slightly his seat forward, but he moves even more his shoulders forward. So it means he's doing all his reach on first part of the slide. We can see how little movement of the seat on first part of the slide, how much reach of his shoulders forward. Everything is in order to finish reaching out on first part of the slide. So second part of the slide is going to be done without the reaching, without diving, just thinking about making correct catch. We are approaching catch. He's nicely extended, nice compression of his legs, and watch his hands movement up right now. He put his blade into the water without raising shoulders, only hands went up and legs started drive back. And again we are back to the same frame like before. There is no body opening, just holding, hanging on the oar and driving legs backwards. Still hanging, still not opening. Transition point. And now we can watch all his motion in slow motion. It's done smoothly, steady speed without any dramatic acceleration or deceleration of the motion. Now let's analyze quickly gold medal cox pair from Italy. Body preparation middle of slide, stroke very nice around shoulders, arms stretched, body angle, bowman a little bit rigid but also already prepared. Slide, further extension, catch, extremely compressed position, nice around shoulders, beautiful flexibility, especially strokeman, arms stretched forward. Catch, only hands are raised up, beginning of stroke, powerful leg drive, and strokeman almost creating shooting seat. Bowman, very nice position, hanging on the oar, driving legs without body opening, approaching middle of drive, upper body is hanging, arms are stretched, strong leg drive. Approaching finish, legs are done, nice pendulum of upper body, arms start stretching, body suspended on the oar. Especially Bowman, it's excellent body position. Legs are done and he's still prying his back backwards and squeezing arms simultaneously. Approaching finish, weight is going down to the seat, arms are finishing the last part of the stroke. Release from the water, nicely curved shoulders, without chest sticking up, without any stiffness in upper body, everything is very relaxed, hands go out, and they are ready to start recovery. USA bronze medal. Let's see how they row and some analyze their technique. We are in middle of slide. Its body are quite nicely curved, but you can see that his arms are not stretched as much forward as we can remember Italian had. He's already dipping down, arms are directed not horizontally forward but too much down towards the gunnel, so we can expect some kind of skying. And you can see that still hands go towards the gunnel. Now they approach catch. We don't have the same compression like Italians, we don't have the same body flexibility and body curve, but seat, it's quite... What we saw right now, and what we were talking about, all this and everything, we usually know, coaches know, we have a couple of problems. First of all, it's communication from coach to the athlete. And secondary, to develop this good image, good model of correct stroke, and explain very precisely each point of the rowing stroke. So when we try to correct our athletes, there is no misunderstanding what we are talking about, and it's enough to make one call and he's able to react and to correct. That's why I think using video, tapes, some movie loops, and showing good model and to develop this image so they can close eyes and they know how they should look like, it's first principle of good teaching approach. And secondary is to be very precise on execution, to be demanding on correct execution of some of the drills. I see some people who are doing drills just sometimes look like for sake of doing drills, and we are praying God that something is left after doing drills. But execution is very important. You don't have to do 120 drills. You can settle down and pick 2-3 drills for each workout and really make sure that athletes understand and they execute every drill, every stroke very correctly. There are many drills. I read about some people have 27 drills just for the catch or something like that, but I don't think it's makes any sense to use so many drills. Just to settle down with a few which really work and try to do. Using drills, it's possible to use drills as a first part of the workout during the warm-up, and just to say, okay, 20 minutes drills, please, 1 minute with force here, on finish, we work on cuts. 1 minute with force, middle of shins, we work on preparation, body preparation. 1 minute square blade, swing, we work on finish, clean release. You have 3 minutes, please repeat this 6 times. So this way, you have 18 minutes of drilling, continuous row, without stopping, you are getting something out. Also another good method of introducing technique into your workout without wasting time, what usually coaches are worried that they don't have enough time, is to do drills during regular rows. Anytime you are row long distance, 60 minutes steady state, 50 minutes steady state, try to do this in some part of the drills. Physiologically, if we row steady state, we have the same heart rate, we are gaining the same physiological features, but from technical point of view, we can row, for instance, 5 minutes on wide grip, 24, 26. After 5 minutes, we switch to on regular grip square blades. This way, we can cover 40 minutes of steady state, playing, introducing different type of drills without stopping, without interrupting our workout, and we are getting physiological features as well as technical. And that's why I don't believe that we don't have time for technique. There is always time, we paddle and we do some hard pressure strokes, slip water pressure strokes. All this stuff can be done in some kind of technical drill with something to focus. Okay, 20 minutes we work on catch. Next 20 minutes we work on finish, square blade. This way, athletes are not bored on long distance row. They can think about something, and we are accomplishing much more than just simple row for 40 minutes and 40 minutes repeating the same mistakes. So we are practically improving our mistakes instead of eliminating them. To develop and to feel training and how to apply body, we put ourselves in weak positions, so we have to be efficient. We have to use to the most natural way of rowing. So we use exercise, outside arm only, square blade, and we go, we put blade in the water, and now we don't have choice. We have to hang to the end and release. We should keep this arm straight as long as possible, and here on the finish just do slight shoulder motion to help to bring this hand to a nicely circular motion on release. Okay. This exercise can be done on the 8 by pairs, by 4s, even up to 6s, but it's obvious when body is getting faster, it's much more difficult to row outside arm. It's possible to do also with the 4 and start from this point to make sure that our body is prepared, and then continue without force. But you can see how I cannot jerk this arm. It's so weak. So I have to hang, and then bring myself throughout here. I'm doing everything with feet out of foot, so just Next exercise, which would be some kind of continuation of previous one, plus also will correct our body position during whole stroke and will help a little bit. It will be easier, it's possible to row whole 8, it will be easier on balance, is rowing out wide grip. So also square blade, hand is here very lightly, or some coaches ask to keep like this, eliminate grip, eliminate any tension, and you go forward. And this drill really teaches you to rotate the body, not to collapse on catch away from your oar, only with your shoulders, to follow your oar with your shoulders. So to rotate a little bit, to keep outside shoulder up instead. Many rowers have this body. So keep it up here, rotation, turning, and finishing also a little bit on your side. This drill is excellent drill to eliminate leaning away from the oar. And because you have to apply outside arm to very end. Leaning away usually happens when people row stiff, rigid inside arm and they are pushed away from the oar. Probably you can picture this type of technique, and they have to lean. To eliminate the stiffness, we have to pull mobile outside and lean to the oar, to have very similar angle of our shoulder with the oar. That's why we use a lot of wide grip and leaning to the oar. Rotation, up. There is the same principle, leaning, hanging, and accelerating, swinging. You can make all different combinations of this drill, with pause, without pause, continuous row, whatever you want, but this drill, it's very good drill, and it could be applied with whole 8 because it's easier to keep balance. Outside hand is much only it's much more difficult. This one is easier to balance, so it's possible to row whole 8. Then the other drill which we use a lot, and probably everyone is using, nothing new, it is just regular square blades rowing, which helps a lot to define finish. You have to finish precisely, you are forced to press down. We are trying to avoid this type of finish. So square blades usually force you to break arms, so in the moment of release you should be, especially inside arm, elbow should be through body. That's your relaxed position. That's how we should finish our stroke. We shouldn't go like this, with rigid, throwing square blades, finishing, bending arms correctly, also helps sending boat away. Usually we have tendency to just pull through and feather in the water and drag blade out of the water, which really sends whole gun down. If we row a little square blade, we give very good support to the gunner. We finish good, it's good balance, and good power application to the end of the stroke. Square blade, half slide, very good. Just the last part of the stroke. You can do this even quicker, on higher rate. Bob Earls used to do this with woman 8 very often. Up, half slide, and just finish. Accelerate. Body swing, like the last part of slide, like the last part of stroke, practically the last half slide when body open and legs finish working, body is taking, upper body is taking over. So let's do square blades and teaching smooth recovery, not to go back and forward, some kind of sit-ups, but finish here, hands down, hands away, and we pull shoulders down forward, so we are getting good body preparation. Instead of a lot of tension here, that's awful. I can stay even 5 minutes like this. It's a lot of tension here, and start slowly. Now, square blade teach you to finish like this, very circular, very smooth, very fluid motion. I don't know if you noticed, I guess you noticed, I roll all the session I'm doing with my feet out, just that also can be done as some kind of drill to teach people to hang, to press foot stretches and to hang on the oar instead hanging on your straps and going backwards and practically not applying any pressure to the oar. Very often it happens that oar is already over water and person is still going back, like second lay back, and everything is here, holds on shoes, on straps, which is completely useless motion. We are using to define our lay back, our margin, to feel power of our body application to the end. Very often we use this as a drill, rowing with feet out of foot stretches. Practically with my European background, I never paid too much attention to the catch, and I learned everything about the catch from you American coaches, so some stuff might not be precisely like you want, but I think I learned quite well. So anytime we talk about catch, it's also some kind of controversy about catch. Some people are talking about fast catch, some people are talking about strong catch, some people are talking about direct catch. And I learned from watching American crews, I learned that from watching Europeans that we should talk about direct catch, not necessarily strong catch. We talk about placement versus hitting. We talk about locking blade in the water versus just slamming, hammering the water. What it means, we are trying to put blade in the water, place blade in the water before any action to the blade occurs, before we press legs, before open the body. Very often we talk that catch has to be part of recovery. What we mean by this, that on the last part of our slide, we already commit ourselves to the catch, and while we are still going forward in recovery, we are doing catch. We place blade in the water, it goes down into the water, and action of legs occurs just one moment later. So it looks like slide, catch, grab. Slide, catch, grab. Of course, in full speed, everything should be very well synchronized. And that's extremely difficult. In my opinion, missing a little bit water and putting blade slightly too late still doesn't slow down boat, doesn't create check on the boat, versa strong backsplash. I don't know, I remember I saw some fish which were specializing in backsplash. They were coming after flood water workout and they had 20 gallons of water in boat because they were training backsplash. This synchronization is so difficult that we use different drills to synchronize time of placing blade in the water and first action of your leg drive. Steve Gladstone, working with me right now, is describing that you go and you are very relaxed, you make catch, and one moment later action starts, delayed action, and you have to be extremely relaxed here and start action. All tension has to occur after placement was done. Some people are getting set and getting tense even before. It's obvious they will miss this point of synchronization, catch versus leg drive. Ted Washburn is using some drill very interesting on running water tank. They place blade into the water and he asks, just stop in this moment. And practically all is flowing, drifting and pushing to the point that all is drifting, pushing hands and then action of legs. Everything is done in order to teach to separate catch from drive. Because the most common mistake is drive and catch, opening and catch, pressing legs and catch. So missing a lot of water and missing completely placement. So going again to teach catch, we use pause, on finish, coming, hop, placement and stop. Without taking, throw it in the water, you go back and you do the same. Repeat. Going, squaring, and without taking, stop. Second, again,
touch it, Andy. Lightly. Okay, now forward. Let's control. Ready? Rope. Yes.
Second is just withdrawing in the water. On finish position, you go, placement, drive, and stop. Slide, placement, drive, and stop. I've been using some kind of combination. I asked to have quite fast placement and very slow drift in the water, still for the same purpose of separation, catch from drive. So it looks like pause coming, quite crispy, snappy catch, and easy drive. As I found rowers had really hard time to execute this drill. They wanted fast catch from powerful drive. Instead, just direct catch, direct catch and easy that. So it makes very strong definition and difference between catch and drive. Those are the best exercises to teach catch as a placement, as a part of recovery versa. Catch taking, missing water, versa catch as a part of drive.
Okay. Are there any others?
Questions, and they are not related to how should be done, but what to do in case that someone is doing this type of mistake, is making this type of mistake or the other one. Let's try to go very quickly through the most common mistakes. I will try to show how they look like so it's easier to identify, and my opinion how to eliminate them, how to correct them, how to attempt to correct. Someone can have different opinion and say that's my opinion, it's not necessarily has to be the best one. Like we talked at the beginning, due to lack of body preparation, we have many people starting slide with straight body or even leaning backwards, going like this, and diving on the catch, usually diving away from the oar. This is also related with very stiff body. So, rigid upper body, he goes like this forward. Now he knows he has to reach. He reaches forward. What is happening? Sit. Due this rapid reaching out and dropping outside shoulder down, see this sliding back. So it puts him very weak body position and of course very high blade level. That's very common situation on catch. Next is he has to put blade into the water. He lifts himself and blade is put into the water by raising up upper body. So it is hammer, it is not placement. It's very heavy motion, missing water. In the meantime, Sid is already halfway down. Do this dropping, lifting, and very little legs is left. So this is chain of mistake, I call it, and it starts from lack of body preparation. To correct all this stuff, I would definitely use wide grip, which, and maybe with pause, which will teach good body position, rotation on catch, to keep the shoulder up, rotation, hanging, and finishing on also a little bit on your side. next very common mistake is leaning away due to tension and rowing and taking almost all pressure on inside arm. Usually you can see when rowers row, I don't have this type of muscles, but you can see tension on inside arm, and here very relaxed outside. So it looks like this. Very common mistake. And it is very inefficient way of rowing because practically we are cutting our arm, our leverage by so much. That's the most advantageous length. So most pressure should be here at the end or not somewhere here because it's so much shorter. And this tension in inside arm creates it. Everyone's elbow is coming up, rigid. This shoulder is coming up, and we are finishing like this. To eliminate this also, it's very good. Wide grip, like before, and make sure they push collar against order, leaning to the elbow. Also very good is square blade to learn how to break inside arm and to finish like this inside arm. To use forearm to pivot in elbow like this and finish. There's a pivoting here. This rigid arm. So to learn this square blade, for instance, even without any label, to learn to teach them to break off this motion. Just comfortable, relax, to pivot in elbows. Use forearm to release from the water, not use full arm to release from the water. On very relaxed everything. This type of release. Pressing by outside hand, fingers down off. And I would advise a lot to roll with pause and finish to develop very good placement in the water and very uniform slide, very uniform sliding type of recovery. So blade is steady down into the water.
Don't do that again.
Some people are changing blade level during recovery several times, and very common mistake is they are too close to the water level here in the middle of recovery, and then they start squaring, coming up and getting into the water. If we are on certain level, it's uniform squaring into the water. Very uniform motion, very direct. Some way, I don't have explanation, with pause on finish, really it helps to develop these reference points for all crew members, and it's very easy to develop this uniform gliding motion. Just changing direction.
Now USA Cox pair, bronze medal. Let's see how they row and some analyze their technique. We are in middle of slide. Its body are quite nicely curved, but you can see that his arms are not stretched as much forward as we can remember Italian had. He's already dipping down, arms are directed not horizontally forward but too much down towards the gunnel, so we can expect some kind of skying. And you can see that still hands go towards the gunnel. Now they approach catch. We don't have the same compression like Italians, we don't have the same body flexibility and body curve, but seat, it's quite back. They are not able to keep seat under the body. And hands are very close to the gunnel. That's position after catch. You can see difference between Italian pair and American pair. Look, he's holding everything on his arms. He also shoot a little bit seat, but he squeeze arms in the moment of the catch. There's a lot of tension. It's hard to say he's hanging on the oar. He's rather holding the oar. Let's follow his drive. He didn't put, you can see, he didn't put his weight to the oar. He's driving legs, but it's holding on the arms. The arms are not stretched. They are not relaxed. Now let's compare, if you can remember, if you can recall Italian bowmen at the same position and our rowers the same position. It's a big difference. Italian had arms horizontally and all upper body was frying and pulling the oar backwards. You can see that that's not what is happening here. I don't see too much hanging in this body position. The same here. These arms should be much more stretched, much more relaxed, and more tension should be on upper body, and lats should be pried backwards. Definitely too soon arms action relation to the body and leg drive. And leaning hanging on the oar now in the last part, but leaning away a little bit too much. Recovery, you can see this oarsman is dropping his way from the oar. Recovery, beginning of slide. Bodies are very straight, the moment when we are taking slide. And here it starts body preparation, and we work on body preparation a lot, so this oarsman made quite big improvement. Here we have Karppinen, gold medal on single in Olympic Games in '84. Let's watch his technique. It's very noticeable, beautiful rhythm, very fluid motion, steady speed. There is no deceleration or acceleration in any part of his stroke. And if we want to analyze frame by frame, very nice body position, driving legs, prying, a little bit too, there is some slide motion up, which I don't like, but it doesn't matter if I don't like. He has gold medals, and I guess 3 gold medals, so that's what counts the most. But if I really would like to be very picky, I would eliminate this upright motion and try to pry a little bit more horizontally. The end of leg drive, last push of legs, pendulum upper body, squeezing arms simultaneously, back position nice, around shoulders, very relaxed chest, not tension chest, around shoulders, hands go away, shoulders immediately around, follow the arms, the hands, half slide, excellent body preparation, half slide, body angle, nice relaxed shoulders, nice arms stretched forward. Last part of slide, nothing is happening, maintaining only position in the middle of slide. Almost full reach is already done, nicely around shoulders, arms stretched, nice body angle. Approaching catch, there is no additional extension, the same around shoulders, arms stretched, very natural, very relaxed position. Moment of the catch, nothing is changing, the same extension, the same natural position. Many of our athletes are having here straight, very rigid position, which coaches call them sit up, support yourself, sit up, but that's not correct. That's how it should be. It's reach forward, stretched, relaxed. Drive, touch was made only by lifting hands. Body position hasn't changed. Leg drive, now beginning of opening, continuation of leg drive. Transition point, hanging on the oar, driving legs, upper body is hanging, finishing legs, still hanging on the oar, squeezing arms, and finish. And hands out, around shoulders, relax, follow, arms stretch, reaching out. Beautiful position, middle of slide with full body preparation ready for the catch.